Here we go. Listen. Now, yes, we're gonna go straight to yes, you're looking at the quiet storm. I'm gonna speak for him right now. I know I'm gonna speak. He's not gonna say what you want him to say. I'm gonna say it for him. So we hear Ace and the Quiet Storm, OG, big homie, one and only Alabama Roll Tide, young, gray beard, nice shining. Look at him. You see the head glistening, like this is glistening off his skull right now. I don't know why the Celtics look like oh one. It gives out here compared to these words. I don't know when did Robert Williams become Robert Parrish. I don't know why Grant would like I don't understand what's happening out here today. I just know we are back with another one with the Quiet Storm. Thank you for bringing it in with us. Remember on the way in, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We are here to talk about the Celtics and the Warriors to kick this off. We are here with the Celtic fan wearing the Alabama shirt because he's
Yeah,
comfortable with the lead that they have right now. He's not even worried about wearing green because he just
listen.
listen.
If I had
Why are
come
you
on,
why are you smoking this team like this? I don't understand. What's going on, Pop?
um,
What's going on, man?
good evening, everyone. This is a blessing, of course, as Ace has said, to be here with you all, and hope that as time goes on and you get more and more acclimated to us, you will understand
Why?
my belligerence and my pure sense of pretending I have humility at this point. So
Listen,
this time last week, I went into this whole thing about the finals and
talk about it.
where we both thought the finals would go. Ace sat there and said,
I did.
"Warriors in five, man.
I did, man. I
Warriors in
did.
five." And
Said
he
that out
laid it
loud.
out there for you all as to why the Warriors would win in five. I said Celtics in six.
You
Warriors in
did.
five, man. He stuck to that.
I felt like Warriors of five, maybe six, man. Maybe
Yeah, well,
six is still here. Maybe six is still
maybe.
here.
And listen,
Nah, man,
maybe it
not with
is.
this. Not with
But
this, man.
I'm going to tell you all my
Oh Lord.
reasons on how we got the 2-1 Celtics.
Oh Lord.
Game one, most of the so-called professionals said that Golden State had maybe underestimated Boston, or they didn't come out with the same fire, or um, they just needed to get themselves gathered. Okay, just one loss. We're not worried about it. Game two, Golden State came out there, did their
They
thing.
did. They did.
They did their thing. They played Golden State basketball, especially in the third quarter, which Boston notoriously this year struggles in. So here we get to game three. Boston jumps out, keep the lead until fourth quarter when Steph hit this ridiculous three, put them
Listen,
up
man.
83-82.
Listen, man.
At that point,
Third quarter. Steph was different last night, man.
yes, he was. And at that point, if you're a Boston fan, you're thinking this team is about to go crazy. Now remember, one sequence had a 7-point sequence. Just seven. That's a quick
7 point possession.
7-point
Yeah.
possession. So you're
Yeah.
thinking in your head, Boston's in trouble. But I'm gonna tell you why Boston is not in trouble. When you look at Golden State's core, and excellent, they have championship pedigree. They have guys who've been there before, and guys I genuinely like. I mean, I like Golden State and how they play ball. But you're playing a team that doesn't really care about your pedigree. They don't care. Boston could care less about how many
Okay.
finals you've been
Okay.
to.
You talking right now?
They
Okay.
could care less about Steph not getting his finals MVP. They
Okay.
don't care.
Okay. You
And
talking? I hear
sometimes
you.
when a team doesn't understand the moment, they play better. They you know they
You got
are
the you
looking
got
at they
you
are
got the
looking
up of the
at
serious giggle going on right now. You
no,
got the you got the I'm up 2-1
because
chuckle. Okay.
almost everyone, I mean, there's a few that said Boston could, will win,
Right.
but the majority of the betting lines had Golden State winning the series. And
They
listen,
did.
Golden State may still win this series. It's not over. But let's look at how they both got here. Boston has not lost two in a row in the playoffs.
They have not.
They have not lost. They have won every game after a loss. They had their 7-0 after a loss in this year's playoffs. The likelihood of now Golden State beating Boston 3 out of the next 4 games
It's pretty low.
is pretty low.
It's pretty low.
It's pretty low. And Boston hasn't done anything, I would say, overly spectacular. They don't have a guy going off for 40. Jason Tatum hasn't had a 40-point game in this series, even though he had 2 in the 2 previous series. He hasn't gone off on him. And Golden State has done a good job in how they've defended Jason Tatum.
They have.
The problem is Jason Tatum is growing up before your eyes and distributing the ball, not trying to force bad shots. He hasn't, his shooting percentage is not that high. I mean, I think he's shooting around 39% from the field. That's not necessarily high, but it's when he's scoring his points that don't show up in the box score.
Right.
He'll hit a 3. Steph will come down, knock down a 3. Jason Tatum will knock down another 3. Keep it honest. Marcus Smart all of a sudden looks like he can shoot. When Marcus Smart first got into the league, he couldn't shoot a lick. All of a sudden now he's throwing up 20. He's throwing up 23, 24 on you. And when he and let's be perfectly honest, if Marcus Smart is going to do that, Golden State is in serious trouble.
It's getting wild out
Because
here, man.
and let's take game 1. Al Horford. Al Horford goes out there, puts up these great numbers. He's shooting 3s all of a sudden. But then all of a sudden, maybe in last night's game, somebody must have told him, there's nobody on their team as tall as you. How come you're not backing anybody down?
That's what I'm saying.
Why aren't you backing people down and taking advantage of your side?
Man.
Robert Williams, there's nobody on Golden State's team taller or bigger than you. Why aren't you backing people down?
They had 72 offensive rebounds last night, man.
It's
72.
and that's how Boston is going. If they win this series, they're going to win it because that team has realized they can't guard us in the post.
They can't, man.
They can't guard us in the post. And at some point, you're going to have to feed the post, and you're going to have help defense come over. They're going to swing it back out to your shooters. And all your shooters have to do is knock down the shot. If you think about it, Ace, that's a lot like how the Bulls were with Jordan. They fed the post, fed the post, fed the post. Cartwright, Purdue, Livingston, all of those guys got their points early in the game, and teams collapsed on the post, and now you got B.J. Armstrong, Kerr, Paxson, all these shooters knocking down 3s. And then Michael Jordan takes over third and fourth quarter. Game over. It's not that recipe worked for the Bulls because they're all-time great. Those 92, 93, 94, 95, 96 teams were just different. The Celtics are not that team, but the Celtics go out there every day and stare Golden State in the eye and
they just beat them up. They just beat them up, man.
And just beat them up.
Beating them up.
And now, and we're going to touch on another subject that we talked about a bit last week. Boston is best when they are creating what they call a defensive frenzy, meaning they're getting turnover after turnover after turnover, and you look up, they got a 12-0 run on you.
And they switch everything out there.
They switch
They
That's
switch
right.
so
They
nice, and they
switched
just
well.
they
They
trap
and
well. They come out of the trap well to get back to their man.
absolutely. They are
Robert, what
very well
like it's
coached
that
defensively.
defense. That defense is amazing.
Now, I will say this: one thing they need to get better on: stop collapsing so much, thinking Steph is going to drive to the basket because that's not his game. He's going to make you think he's going out there, and he'll take 3 steps backwards just to shoot a three. And when Steph does that, they're a harder team to beat. Clay
Right,
Thompson is not Clay
right,
Thompson right now.
right. But Steph
Um,
did that though. But here's the thing: Steph did that, and they still won. Steph was listen. That third quarter, Steph was unbelievable last night. And
your
they
whole
took that.
team,
They went down 1 point. Everybody thought, okay, here comes Golden State. Next thing
no,
you know, you look up and Boston is up 11 again. They don't
and one good
care about
reason for
getting
that
punched in the
is
face. They don't
you
care about
can't
being down.
you can't be Golden State and score 11 points in a quarter. You can't be one of the best shooting teams in basketball and put up 11 points in a quarter. That is unacceptable. And if you're Steve Kerr, you can't coach that. You can't coach against that. Your team put up 11 in a quarter. You're not going to win many games, especially fourth quarter. Steph Curry's reputation has always been he's a great regular season guy, great playoff guy, gets to the finals. He doesn't step up. But how much can you ask for a guy who put up 31 points for you?
He's already stepped up. It's not
He's
him.
so and
It's
honestly,
not
the
him.
rest of your shooters are not stepping
Clay
up
Clay came
consistently.
alive last night.
He did. They still lost.
They're getting shooting out of Otto Porter. Jordan Poole. Yeah, you know what? This is his first time in something like this. I get it. Draymond looks terrible.
They still
Draymond looks
lost.
Draymond cares more about trying to get Jalen Brown mad than
Well,
locking up on defense. He had what he had 2 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds yesterday.
yeah, that was his line.
Come on, man. Like what are we doing out here?
He had more
Get
fouls than
off your
points, and he
podcast and
played.
start hooping.
How many minutes did Draymond play? About 37 minutes last night.
34 minutes last
34
night.
minutes. So 34 minutes, you have more fouls
Like
than points.
what are we doing, Draymond? And it's not even him scoring. He's not defending the way he needs to defend. He's not like some of his turnovers were terrible.
Well,
He's throwing
Draymond shows flashes. Draymond
yeah,
shows flashes
but
of
they
great
need
defense.
more
I
than that.
remember in
They
out
need
in
more.
San Francisco, he there was one defensive play that was against against Horford that was outstanding defensive play. Just literally just took the ball from him. But here's the
Right.
problem with that.
That's
It's
one.
too far. It's too many gaps in between that.
Right.
Will anybody be willing to say that Golden State's just tired? Their core is tired. Maybe those guys don't have that fourth quarter killer instinct they used to have. They used to have teams buried the first 6 minutes of the fourth.
Did they make the playoffs last year? I don't think they did, right?
No, I don't. No, I don't think so. I think
I
they
don't want
played
to
a
hear
play-in.
tired.
I don't know if they played a play-in
They're right.
game,
They did play the playing
something
game.
like that. So,
I don't want to hear tired.
well,
You didn't go to the playoffs last year.
mhm,
Yes, Clay's coming off his injury, but he hasn't played really a lot in 2 years, but he's coming off an injury. I get that part. Jordan Poole's young. He's not tired. Wiggins
no.
hasn't been here. He's not tired.
Well,
Like you're
okay.
not
Now stop right there. Let me ask
nah.
you this. Let me ask you this. And anybody who wants to chime in could answer this question. On paper, you would take Golden State starting five against Boston starting five. But let's look at the matchups. Jason, you have the two best scorers on each team: Klay Thompson, Steph Curry,
Right.
Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown.
Right.
Right? Okay. Those are the two alpha males offensively for both teams. Draymond is getting outplayed by Al Horford, the combination of Al Horford and Robert Williams, just getting thoroughly outplayed.
And Grant Williams.
And Grant Wood, just thoroughly outplaying the front court of Golden State. And that's how this series is going to be won. That front court is going to be the difference maker offensive rebounding, even some defensive rebounding, blocking shots. I mean, I think Robert Williams sent somebody shot into
To me, I caught it
into.
yesterday.
You caught that one, and that's what a defensive presence gives you that Golden State does not have in the middle of their defense. They just don't have it. And they're playing the team. See, they've been able to get this far by playing teams that didn't have what Boston has.
Man.
Height, length, and quickness. They're quicker to the ball. They're quicker. Their length is affecting shots. Their height, you're not out jumping those guys. You're not getting. Draymond gets most of his rebounds. They call it below the rim, right? Because he's not skying up. Boston just going up and getting it.
They are.
They're going up and getting it. So they will end up having more possessions than Golden State because of that. And that's going to be the difference of this in this series. Golden State is going to be bullied in the paint. They're going to be bullied down there. Those guys are not scared. It's going to be very difficult for Golden State to win in Boston the next game because Boston is going to start feeling really confident. They know what they need to do. They're going to make some adjustments. And if this series goes 3-1 Boston, Golden State could win at home. They're going to lose when they go back to Boston.
There is a sentiment out there that a lot of people think that this Golden State team cannot go into Boston and win. Do you think that this Golden State team can win a game in Boston?
I think they're capable. I don't think they will.
Ooh.
I think they're capable. They have the talent to do so.
Okay.
But this is also the same Golden State team that was 50 some odd points down against Memphis.
They were down 50.
Right?
They were down 50.
And if they think the crowd was crazy in Memphis,
it's nasty in Boston.
And they're nasty and mean in Boston. I mean, and here's another thing. When you start getting players talking about the fans,
yeah, it's over. It's
over.
Mentally over for you.
It's over because if the fans know they're doing this to you now,
oh my God,
you wait till the next game.
This game tomorrow.
If you think the fans are something now, just wait.
This game tomorrow
until
they are going to listen. They're going to call Draymond, his wife, his kid, all types of whatever they want to call. Like they're going to be. Every time he touches the ball, and Draymond is so emotional that he's going to let it get to him.
Of course,
there's something about him now. He can't.
You know, and you once
this version of Draymond Green is getting
previous,
smoked out here.
Yep, I think you said in the previous series that Draymond and all his barking, he's going to be out there howling and all of that stuff. Draymond will get a technical tomorrow, and I will not be surprised if he gets thrown out the game.
Ooh, tomorrow might be the game.
Because if there's any game he's going to get thrown out of, it'll be tomorrow's game. Because Draymond is all emotional because his wife put this tweet out there about the Boston fans, and Klay Thompson said, "Oh, good job, Boston." You know, the vulgarity and everything else. Your focus is not on the fact you just lost, but how the fans are behaving. That's your focus. That's what you want to talk about after a loss. You don't want to talk about, hey, listen, we got to do better. We have to make sure we have to start executing. We have to play our brand of basketball. We have to that should. The fans are the fans. But instead of doing those things, you have now added the fans to your misery. You're down 2-1. Now you've added the fans to that misery. So now here you
miserable
are. They miserable out there. Now the fans are added to their woe. Like, oh man,
what? Wait, their woe?
Their woe. The F words. The fans are calling people.
The melancholy is starting to kick in.
Oh man, them guys complaining about. Steve Curry is even talking about the fans. Really, Coach? That's your focus.
It's gonna be a madhouse in there
And
tomorrow.
Kerr played in the NBA and heard he's Kerr has played on a championship level, 5 rings to his credit. So
Listen, the Warriors are losing by 30 tomorrow.
listen, I say
The
I
Warriors are getting
say
smoked tomorrow. Cause
Boston wins by I say Boston wins and they win by at least they win by double digits.
they're gonna smoke them tomorrow, man. I just don't see it, and
I
it's
think
not
Boston
because the Golden
jumps
State
out there.
isn't.
I would not be surprised if see Boston come out there laser focused and go into halftime up by over 20.
I just don't. There's
I can
something
see
about
it.
this Golden State team, man, that they are not. Everything was about. Oh, this is what the fans did. Look at the fans. Like Steph is playing amazing. Steph is great. If they win the series, Steph is Finals MVP. He'll finally do it.
Absolutely.
Steph is playing
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Yep.
He's playing better than anybody else in the series
He
as far
sure
as just a
is.
single player.
I agree.
But the next six guys playing best are all on Boston right now.
And I told you also last week, Boston's bench is better than Golden State's bench. Yeah.
Let's
They're
pull.
they're playing better than Golden
They are
State's bench,
playing better. They
right?
are playing better.
So I know Gary Payton II, good defender,
He's back, but he's
but he ain't the
he's
same.
rusty. He's been out
No.
for a while.
And let's talk about the Golden State team that won prior to Kevin Durant, or even with Kevin Durant. You had a healthy Iguodala. You had Sean Livingston, who was
Right,
playing very well at that point of his career,
right.
right? Those guys came off the bench. They were productive. They were the type of guys that um, added some athleticism, some length to the team.
Right.
When Kevin Durant gets there, the next level. Understandable. This particular Golden State team is not as good as those teams.
They're not. They're not. Of course they're
And
not.
Boston is better than they give credit for. I think that Boston is proving they belong in the finals. They belong there. Regardless of how they got there, no Chris Middleton in Milwaukee, and you had some guys ailing with injuries with Miami. Nobody cares about that.
They don't.
Nobody
They
cares
got
about
here.
that.
They
They
got
got
here.
there, and now that they're there, they're showing
They're
why they
bullying.
belong there.
They're bullying Golden State.
Exactly. So I think Golden State's in a heap of trouble. I think they are in a heap of trouble because you can't shoot your way. You can't 3-point Boston to death every game. They're going to
You can't.
adjust. They're going to adjust. They're going to make adjustments defensively,
And they're
and
not
they're
getting
going
second
to
shots.
negate that. And you know what? And there's nothing wrong with Steph going off. You go and get yours, Steph.
He's
The
going
rest of
to.
you,
He's going to get his.
yeah,
And Clay, listen, Clay came alive yesterday, and for a second it was like, if Clay and Steph,
that's going to
things
be a
can get
problem.
injured.
Yep.
But even if Clay and Steph is getting, listen, these stupid fouls Steph is getting. I don't know where this is coming from, but all of a sudden Steph is in foul trouble throughout these games. He can't even play as many minutes as he used to playing. But is Draymond? Wiggins is starting to like Wiggins is this is a big moment for Wiggins. He's playing a little bit like it. He's not as locked in as he was versus Dallas. You know, Otto Porter is shooting the ball well. Like there's just all these guys who are playing okay, but Boston second chance points. They're not giving up second chance points, and everybody's involved. If Jalen Brown is going to play like this, things are going to get really really
Right
nasty
now,
for
if
them.
Boston wins this series, Jalen Brown's the Finals MVP, in my
Think
opinion.
so?
I
Okay.
think so. Because he's not a talkative guy. He just goes out there and does his job. He's intense. Don't get me wrong. He can square up if he feels like he has to, but he just goes out there and balls. And he has carried Boston at times where Jason Tatum hasn't. So,
Yes.
if you're looking for a Finals MVP at this point, if on each team, Steph with Golden State and Jalen Brown with Boston. But here's the thing: interchangeable parts means a lot in the NBA. You have to be
Right.
able to, when you substitute a person, you need to substitute a person with a very similar skill set of the person you just took out the game. right? Or you want to substitute bigs or whatever, give them a
You do.
blow, right? Where are the interchangeable parts with Golden State as opposed to Boston? Grant Williams can come in and spell Al Horford.
I hate
You
everything
know,
about Grant
Robert
Williams.
Williams can come in and spell um,
Oh, Horford. No, no,
Horford or
no. You already said Horford.
Robert Williams. You know,
Robert
your
Williams,
guards.
Rob
You
Williams is
can
there,
put
but all of a
Pritchard
sudden you
in.
can bring a guy in and you
Yeah,
bring Pritchard annoying ass in, and he's
yeah.
just
He's
like
just
it's just something about like they have guys, they have
yes,
championship winning guys who
yes.
are annoying, guys who will do all the hard work, guys who aren't going to settle for weird threes and step backs. They're going to get in there, they're going to rebound, they're going to defend, they're going to
And
box
guys
out. Like they
and
have guys who are going to do work to
and
get
guys who are
possessions.
willing to accept those roles
They are.
and make it happen for that
They
team.
are. They are.
And you're gonna now, and this is another thing that has Golden State in a little bit of trouble tomorrow night. Steph is not going to be 100%.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's
Um,
talk about it.
that
He says
ankle
he's going to
injury
play. He
that
says
he's
he's
going
going
to
to
play,
play.
and he said it's gonna hurt, but
But here's the
you
thing
know,
about Steph. Now, yes, we talk about a guy being hurt, but what makes Steph so deadly is how good he is running around without the ball in his hand. And if he's going to be hurt, lower body injury, he's not running around baseline, running
he's
side
not
to
making
side.
those hard cuts.
It's not going to
Exactly,
be the same. And if he's not
exactly.
doing that, then all of a sudden he's going to rely more on that shot, which he's the best ever to do it, and
Yep,
those can fall. But all of a sudden you're not as worried about the up fakes and him blowing by you
I
because it's
agree.
not going to
I
be the
agree.
same.
I
You're not worried
agree
about
with
him
you.
getting into a paint and getting your bigs in foul trouble and kicking out. You're a little less worried about that. And
I
if
agree.
you're going to do that, Clay is not obviously 100%. Now your two best players can't do what makes them elite. It's going to get spooky tomorrow if they don't hit
Yeah,
shots.
yeah,
It's going to get spooky.
yeah. And you can't. And listen, you talk about a team that on any given night can put up 120 points, 125 on you. But that we're talking about Boston's defense, and they're not going to be as the series goes on. The defensive intensity from Boston is going to be ratcheted up each game, and that's what Golden State is facing. I think that this series, I mean, we can both, I'm sure, can agree. Boston wins tomorrow is over because Golden State is not
Oh
going
yeah,
to beat them
they're not winning
three
three
straight.
straight.
No.
They're not.
If it goes
Tomorrow is a
2-2
super
going
must
into,
win.
if it's 2-2 going into Oakland, we may be talking something different this time next week. You
Maybe,
know?
maybe.
But
It
again,
also
to
may
the
be
earlier
over by
point
this time next
earlier,
week.
Boston doesn't lose back-to-back games.
They don't.
So you're looking at minimum 6-game series, at best 7-game at this point. And I think Boston wins the 6.
Man, this is something unfortunate. Not that Boston couldn't win, but how they're winning. They're just beating them up. And yeah, we thought size would be an issue, but this is just something different.
Yeah.
Like they can't they had 89 offensive rebounds yesterday. Like I don't understand what they're going to do differently. Because if you can't get second chance shots and their defensive rebounding, Robert Williams is out here looking like Hakeem, like he's looking like Hakeem on defense with these guys. Every time they come in there, he's just throwing the ball back at them, and he's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Draymond is
Yeah.
flailing for his life, and he's sitting. Every time I look up, Draymond's sitting Indian style on the court, staring at Jalen Brown, trying to get him mad. Like it's just none of this makes sense. Like they just look so sad out here, man. Every time I look up, Draymond is just sitting there clapping. Like he's just clapping. Why you clapping so much? There's nothing to clap at. You know what I mean?
No.
Like if Grant Williams is starting to look at you like, yeah, I want problems. Things have gotten real ugly. Things
Yeah,
have
because
gotten dark
if
out
you
here,
got Grant
man.
Williams giving you that look, you've already lost.
Yeah. Like Grant Williams is now calling you soft. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
little out
calling you
here.
Saul,
Grant?
and yeah,
Not Grant.
you know,
Not Grant Williams, man. Like it's looking nasty out here for Warriors.
and,
But
and sadly
they have a
also,
championship pedigree.
yes,
Now, yes, I do think they come out and they get smoked tomorrow. But there's also a path where they show, you know what? We have championship medal. We're gonna come out. Steve Kerr is one of the 2 to 3 best coaches in the world right now. They can come out, and if Steph is 90%
Hmm.
instead of the 70%, those shots fall, things are looking different. Now, if but the shots have to fall. If they're not making the threes that they take, not they're not getting second chance. That's the whole thing. That's what's starting to. I keep saying it, but that's what's starting it for me.
Well,
They're not
that's a
getting
good point.
offensive rebounds.
That's a very good point. That's a
So if
very
they're
good
not
point.
making that first shot,
If they're
they're
not
not
making it,
getting those
they're not
second
getting a
shots.
second chance. That's right.
They're not. So they have to knock down not just the shots, but the initial shots.
Yes,
Because if they don't, they're not getting. They're
and that's a
not.
lot
They're
of,
not
and that's a
offensive
lot of pressure.
rebounding. That's a ton of pressure to have
That's a
to
lot of pressure.
listen. We're not getting this rebound. We got to knock these down, and that's going to force some guys to think a touch too much. Like Wiggins missing open shots. You get Otto Porter out here, all of a sudden he has to hit shots for you. Jordan Poole is not looking real. People say it's a pool party because he had that big game in game two.
Yeah.
It hasn't been like that ever
No,
since. It hasn't been
it's
like
too
that
much.
game
It's
one,
right
game
now. It's too
three.
much
It's a lot of pressure
inconsistency.
on these guys.
Yeah, it's too much
Besides Steph,
inconsistency coming from Golden
from
State.
everyone but Steph.
Everyone but Steph. And here's the thing. I think Steph can. We can all say that. No way does this define Steph's legacy or anything like that.
Okay.
But I will say this: Boston, this team is. They don't have a. Here's the thing about the makeup of the two teams. This team was built primarily by Danny Ainge prior to Brad Stevens becoming president
Right.
of the team. And then Brad Stevens made some trades. Now, I was ridiculed for bringing up, I can't think of his last name. Last name is White for Boston. Um,
Oh, okay. The dude that looks like
um,
the weird kid from Scooby Doo.
yeah, no, he came from San Antonio. Not a flashy guy, but very productive.
Right.
You can sit Marcus Smart for long stretches at a time with him in the lineup. He's not turnover prone. He has a nice mid-range jumper. Leave him open behind the arc. He's capable of knocking a couple down for you. He plays good defense, especially
He
help
does.
side. It's not going to be pretty tomorrow if Boston is on the same cylinders they're on in the fourth quarter of last night. If they're playing like that, this series can get real ugly real fast.
This is crazy, man. This is
Real
wild
ugly
how much
real
they're
fast.
beating them up.
And I think the window, and I remember having a talk with you before, that the window is closing on Golden State to
Oh
win.
yeah, it's closing. The way
Boston's window is
Draymond
just
looks,
and
it's
Boston's
this.
window is just opening.
You know what?
They
It
they
really
are a
is,
young
man.
team. They don't have a number one draft pick this year because they traded that to San Antonio. But they do have a number two. I think they have a number two in next year, which is going to be a very good draft. After
They
this
have
year,
their core. That's
they
what
have
they'll
their
have.
core in
They have
place.
their core
Yes,
guys in place.
and it's going to be something interesting going on in basketball, especially if Boston holds on and gets number 18, which is what they want more than anything, is to be one ahead of the Lakers. I think
They
that's
do.
for from
They
a
do.
historical standpoint, they want that and they know what they're playing for. So everyone, I think Boston wins tomorrow.
Okay.
Um, I think Golden State will get back home and play with a lot of intensity at home, as most teams do, and I think they'll prevail. But I think they'll go back to Boston, and that's going to be that.
And that's gonna be that.
Yep,
Boston
that's
and
it.
six is where you are.
Boston and
Yeah.
six is where I'm at.
Am I coming off of the Warriors? Yeah. It's just rebounding for me.
Yeah,
It comes down to rebounding for me. I didn't think the disparity in the rebounding would look this bad, and it's going to come down to rebounding for me. And I don't think they can beat them 3 out of 4 games. I don't think the Warriors can win 3 out of 4 against them.
I don't
I
think
don't
so
see it.
either. No.
I don't see it,
And
and
that
I
and that's
feel
what
more
happens when you give
comfortable.
up home court advantage. You
I feel more
lose.
comfortable with with Boston going in and winning a game 7 than the Warriors coming in down 3-2 and winning a game 6.
Got it. Got you. Yeah.
So I think either way, Boston wins two of these next four games, and
Which
we're
is
sitting
which is their
here,
MO.
which it is.
And to Boston's credit, this is their MO. They don't go on don't in the playoffs. You don't want to go on a losing streak. It's the wrong time for it.
It
So you
is.
don't want to be the team that goes on a because you lose two in a row in the playoffs. That could be the end of you. Boston wins tomorrow. This series is over.
Ooh,
And I would not be surprised.
if they
I'm
win in
giving Golden
five,
State a lot of credit winning at home.
um,
But
this
Boston's
might
already proven they can beat you in your building.
this this might be over in five,
This
man.
could be over in five.
This might be over
This
in
could be
five.
historically talked about on the Golden State Warriors who trying to get Steph Finals MVP. And listen, a lot of basketball still needs to be played. So you never know how it goes. But I agree with you. Boston is not losing three out of the next 4 games.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
It's just that team does that. That'll be an epic collapse. And I don't think that team is going to do that. I just don't think they're going to do that. So everyone, let us know your thoughts on the finals. This has been a very entertaining basketball playoff season. It has been full of what could have been if Chris Middleton was available, what could have been if John Morant was still healthy.
Right.
And I want to touch on that a little bit. I think that the Western Conference has a couple of teams that are going to be excellent teams for the next 4 to 5 years, depending on if they keep their nucleus together. I think Phoenix is a young team. They still have. I think you're going to have to consider moving on from Chris Paul. Um,
They can't trade him because he's getting about $99 million
yeah,
next
you
year.
can't trade him,
So
but
he's
what
not.
you can do is limit his minutes
You can.
and start grooming another guy to take over the ball handling for that team.
Right.
Um, I think that Memphis is going to be a team to be reckoned with, but that's because they use a lot of size. They shoot the ball very well.
Okay.
Um,
We got so,
we going to talk
listen,
about Ja
listen.
house
He's
parties,
rich.
though.
Listen, he's
Listen,
young, rich.
listen. When you're
He's
young and
killing.
rich, Delvin 902, thank you for the question. When you're young, let me tell you something now, Delvin. I don't have to be that young. If I had that much money right now, my house parties would be legendary, man. My house parties, my neighbors, if they can find me,
If they can find us.
because my house is not gonna be right next to somebody else's.
Sure
So
not.
if I had that kind of money, my house parties would be lit. I don't know if I even be married now. I'd probably be like, my wife be like looking at me like, yo, something got to give. So when you're young like that and you have millions and millions of dollars, now you're getting endorsements and you're doing commercials and you're doing Hulu commercials, looking like
He's
the
out here,
Green
man.
Hornet or the Joker from
Green
Batman,
Hornet.
all that green. So now you out here looking like a fictional character from DC Comics or something, but you're getting paid. So when you're getting that kind of money and you're 20, 21, 22 years old and nobody's telling you, you need to manage some of that money. You need to
It's kid and
slow
play
down.
season.
You're gonna spend it.
It's kid and play season.
But right now, Ja is living his best life. Now, let's hope that the Grizzlies continue to get better. The Western Conference was once considered the better of the two conferences, right?
Right.
You had teams out west that were really good that could, but the Eastern Conference is beginning to creep up a little bit in relevancy. Right now, they're top heavy. I think the three main teams would be Milwaukee, Boston, and Miami.
In Miami, yeah.
You could slide maybe Philly in there, depending on
Nope,
something.
not with James Harden.
I have no faith in Harden leading them to the promised land.
Nope.
Brooklyn's a mess right now. So let's talk about
Brooklyn.
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 Let's talk about Brooklyn. Now, all of this talk about how players go from one team to another and
Right.
stacking up. I'm a little old school.
You are.
Boston, Jordan did not recruit players to come play for him, with him. Those players, a lot of them would have probably wanted to play with somebody else as intense as Jordan was. Right? Jordan saw a need for a rebounder. Went to Phil Jackson. Can you coach him? Yeah, I can coach him. Then we need Dennis Rodman. We need a rebounding presence on this team. We need a high energy guy on this team. Rodman comes there, 3 straight championships later. Right? Boston, even with Bird, McHale, Parrish, they drafted McHale, they drafted Bird. Parrish came over during free agency. Right?
Right.
Nobody cared about Robert Parrish a great deal. Then he gets to Boston, he becomes somebody different. Right?
He does.
Teams now going to go play with their friends, building these super squads. You know, Kevin Durant goes to Brooklyn, right? He wants other people to come play with him in Brooklyn. So now you have Durant, you got James Harden, you got Kyrie, and you got a bunch of no-name guys everywhere else. Because y'all
Nah,
just
man.
here,
They had Blake. Listen, they had Blake
man. And look,
Griffin.
Blake
They
ain't
had
been in
LaMarcus
college,
Aldridge
man.
came over here. You know what I'm
Listen,
saying? Like they got all these names.
you know you're not that important anymore when they stop doing commercials with you.
Oh,
Blake
that's a
is
shame.
Blake,
Kia
Blake,
definitely dropped him. And
right?
Kia dropped him, started making nice cars, and said, "Nah, Blake, we all right,
Nah,
man.
you ain't the guy to market these cars no more.
We just gonna
Sorry,
put these cars on TV. We don't
sorry.
need you, my guy. Appreciate you
Exactly.
though."
So now Brooklyn, who was the odds-on favorites to get to the finals before the season started,
Right.
right? All of a sudden, you start seeing people be who they really are.
Mm.
See, Durant does what Durant always does. He knows how to score. He'll rebound for you. He passes well. Durant did his job all year. Here comes Kyrie. You know, look, Kyrie out here thinking the world's still flat and the leaning tower of Pisa is really an illusion. You know, everything with Kyrie is just different, right? And then James Harden comes there, and all of a sudden, you want out of Brooklyn.
Harden might be my least favorite player ever to play the NBA.
No, I think that Brooklyn is done. I think Kevin Durant has got to be sitting around thinking, I'm never gonna see the champ. I'm never gonna see the finals again, man. I'm gonna have to go somewhere that's
He,
already built a team.
oh man,
And
that's
there's
what we doing
one,
with Kevin.
yeah, I
That's what
think
we
that's
doing
what
with
they have to do
Kev.
it because who wants to come to Brooklyn,
All
right?
right, listen. Brooklyn's got juniors.
Huh?
You know what I'm saying? We know that cheesecake is legendary.
Who?
So,
Yeah, they got some
you know what
great
I'm
cheesecake. And you
saying?
know what else they got? They got a nice
Um,
seafood market down there. They got a nice fish
they
market down there.
do. They do. Brooklyn
Yeah,
Tabernacle. You can go get some nice choir. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Hey, you know what I mean?
What?
People might want to be
Yeah,
in
Brooklyn
Brooklyn, man.
got some things going. But you know what they don't have?
Oh man.
they got they got 40 losses on them next year at this point. That's what they have. That's right now. They got 40 losses
They
on
42
the
and
way.
40.
Man, listen, that team is done. Because Kyrie, you Brooklyn is ready to move on from Kyrie right now.
Will Kyrie be a net next year?
My gut says no.
Ooh, man.
But what you're gonna get for him to play with Durant? You know what I mean? What are you gonna get for Kyrie? Kyrie has burned enough bridges. What you gonna get for him?
I don't know. I
You
don't
got
know.
to you got to get a number one. He's worth that. You
He
got to
is.
right. So you got to figure if he plays 60 games instead of 82, because you know he's not gonna play an 82 game season. That ain't happening. So so you got to hope you get 60 games out of Kyrie, and if right 60 games you go 40-20 with him in the lineup.
Okay.
Right, that's worth it. You give up two number ones.
Ugh. Two of
This
them things.
this year's number one, next year's number one,
Two of them things, though.
right? Because he's a generational talent. He's just a generational asshole at times, man. And that's the side of Kyrie that you don't want. If you're in a locker room, you could play with Kyrie in a pickup game. Like, yo, I want Kyrie. Kyrie know how to ball. But then when you want to sit down and talk to Kyrie, you're like, yo, man, what the hell?
Listen, man, Hotep Kyrie is still out
That's
here.
right. Hotep.
Hotep Kyrie is
That
still.
joker's probably trying to read hieroglyphics right now. He's probably trying to break codes and everything. He's trying to find out where the tomb of Anubis is. That dude is sitting somewhere.
Who
He's probably in
really
Egypt right
killed
now,
King Tut?
talking
Though?
about Aziz Light.
Who killed King Tut really? Though?
Aziz, like,
When you really understand.
yeah, listen, that Kyrie right there, that's a different
Nefertiti
Kyrie.
was truly the most beautiful woman ever to
Yes,
live.
Nefertiti, related to Nefertiti on my mama's side. Listen, I don't know what you don't know what you're gonna get from Imhotep.
Not from.
You don't know what you're gonna get from Imhotep
You don't know.
because this guy right here.
Oh my god.
Nah. So I don't know about Boston, man. I don't know about Brooklyn being a threat to anyone next year. We'll get into that after the finals on a way too early who's the team to beat type of segment.
Yeah.
Because free agency will start in earnest after the finals, and you'll start seeing some roster changes. You'll see some changes in LA with LeBron. You'll start seeing some changes with other teams trying to get better. I think Boston likes their core. I think they'll try to get better. They'll probably get another swing guy for the bench, like a guy that's they're not worried about starting. I think that all the teams will be looking into the draft for what they can get and maybe see who's out there as free agents. And if you want to absorb some salary through trades, I don't know. But we'll definitely talk about the finals. I mean, the draft after the finals and who's picking
Right.
where and who might be a best fit. But I think for the last 10 minutes, I got to talk about something. Jeez. I want to talk a little NFL. And how the hell the Rams get so much money, man? How the Rams out here
Listen,
getting so much money, man?
As my
How
man
are they
Brendan
getting so
says,
much? Yo, just
the
answer that
salary
question,
cap
how
is
the
not.
hell
The salary
they have
cap is not
enough
real.
money
Bob. The
to
salary
pay?
cap does not exist. It's not real,
Did
man.
Von Miller go there?
No, Von Miller went there last year, but now he's in
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Now,
But
who
instead
did
of
they have?
Von Miller, they just like, let's go get Bobby Wagner, man.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, let's go get Bobby Wagner.
The salary cap doesn't exist, bro.
Let's
They gave Aaron Donald 2 years, $60 million.
Yeah, let's give Aaron Donald this crazy money right now, man.
Let's give my man Cooper Kupp
let's give Cooper
110
Kupp
for
some of this money.
5.
Dude,
Like, it's just that it doesn't exist.
where the hell is the money that they getting in LA, man? How the hell you able to spend that much money on just 3 guys and you won a Super Bowl last year? This is, you know what?
And they gave Stafford that money.
And they gave Stafford crazy money.
Yeah, man. And they brought in Allen Robinson.
Money. Keep going.
Listen,
shit. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Jerry
Jones,
like,
man.
And honestly, I just want to call Jerry and is this Mr. Jones? Yes. You ain't shit, man. You ain't shit, man. I just want to be able to be that one Dallas fan to just walk right up to us and say, Mr. Jones. Yes.
I remember when you
love the Cowboys.
I remember when you had it, man.
You ain't
because
shit,
listen,
you ain't that guy.
Jerry Jones used to be the guy. Listen, here it is. Here's the money. Go get the squad.
Listen, and he took the criticism for overpaying for players who were beyond their prime, who didn't bring anything to the team. But you know what? At least you tried. Now I get it. You're drafting very well. You're doing well. Draft. You're building your team through the draft. But there are certain players that are out there that will give instant legitimacy to your team. They'll give your defense another presence. Do you mean to tell me that Bobby Wagner playing with Michael Parsons wouldn't be legit?
Yeah.
Right? You
Or
trying to
go get
tell
the
me that Von
or go get
Miller?
a corner. Go get a
Yeah, you
cornerback.
trying to tell me Von Miller playing with that on that defense wouldn't help that defense be even better? They made great leaps and strides this past year. Imagine how much better they would be with just one of those two names. But nah, we ain't doing that. That's not how we do things anymore in Dallas. We want to fuck up with our own homegrown guys. We don't need yours. so it's like, so now I gotta watch the Giants pick the two best players on both sides of the ball,
We out here.
right? I gotta watch the Jets have a better. The Jets had a better draft. I gotta watch all of this while you sitting on, you know, your $35 million at one point under the cap.
It's a
You
lot of
had
money
better,
under the cap.
yeah, but
It's a lot.
we're not spending none of that. No
That's
way.
good. Got nothing to do
But
with me.
but I just had to get that frustration
So
out
what?
because I'm tired of looking at the Rams every time I turn the
You know
TV
what?
on.
You know what I'm saying? Since you're
You
gonna
know,
switch, we're not gonna we're gonna do this the right way. We're gonna do this the right. We gonna do this the right way, baby. If we gonna do this, we gonna do this the right way, baby. If we gonna do this, we're gonna do this the right way. We talking. If we gonna switch to football, what's going on? Evan Neal, what's shut? Kayvon Thibodeau, how you feeling out here? You know what I'm saying? We got a new coach out here. Things healthy. Saquon says he's getting that little bounce back. We feeling all right out here. We might
he
come
should.
in
He ain't
here.
played it. He should. He ain't played in 3 years.
No, don't do that. Don't be nasty with it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Kayvon Thibodeau go break his foot gate week one.
Well, come on now. We wishing foot injuries on the side. Here, look at you. Wait, don't scowl. Don't snarl, baby. You too not me too handsome for the angry face. Don't worry about that. Sadness ain't nothing but happiness turned upside down, baby. We gonna be all right. We
Try
out here
being sad.
now.
Yeah, okay. Try being sad. Yeah, okay. That's just happiness upside down. Nah, that's sadness, bitch.
That's sadness, baby. I'm
That's
not okay.
sadness.
Listen, man, NFL, guys are starting to come into mini camps. I'm starting to see people in jerseys. Things are starting to
Right.
feel football-y out here right now,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah.
And you know
I
what,
think.
Dallas. But I will say this about Dallas. You know, with Amari Cooper gone, y'all just gave Amari away. I don't know what happened there. I appreciate that, but with Amari gone, CD Lamb is going to look great this year. He's out here. I think he's going to be a legit number one. I think I think Michael Gallup is extremely talented. I think he's going to be a good player for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now Dak, Dak's a legit quarterback. I think Dak is easily top 10 in the league. I
Oh,
really like Dak.
wow.
I think Dak's great.
That's so nice of
Um,
you.
yeah, I think he's really good.
No, he's not.
Now, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be disgruntled
Bruh,
yet, man. We haven't even
bruh.
started yet,
Listen,
baby.
when you
We
top
haven't
10 in the
even.
league,
I
you
have
got to
Daniel
win first
Jones at
round games,
quarterback.
man.
I've got Daniel Jones at my quarterback, man.
But
Dak
you know
looks
what?
like
Daniel
Tecmo Warren
Jones
Moon to me.
will have. Here's a
Dak
prediction for
looks
you.
like QB Eagles from Tecmo to me. With
I'm going to give
Daniel
you a
Jones is
prediction.
my.
Daniel Jones will have a statistically better year than Dak Prescott.
No, he won't. No, he
You know
won't.
why?
No,
Because
he
if he
will not.
has his horses healthy,
See you bugging
he's
out
not
here.
he's not going to be the need to throw the ball. I said
You haven't.
statistically.
I've
I didn't say
seen Daniel Jones. I've watched every Daniel Jones snap in my life.
he
I
shows
watched
flashes of greatness.
flashes of what, bro? Like, listen. See, now you're gonna start. Now I see what you're doing. You want me to get down to your sadness? I see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I see what you're doing. You want me to be down in the dumps with you? So we gonna make this a Daniel Jones segment.
Daniel
We
Jones
not.
is a football genius.
Saquon out here looking like he got the bop back.
Yeah, he do. He do.
Hopefully we get Shepard back and he can play more than 9 snaps. That'd
Good
be
point.
wonderful.
That's a good point.
Kenny, maybe Galladay will be invested this year because we finally got him in.
That's true.
That'd be great. We got Kadarius Tony, who nobody on the team likes, but he can play. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
that's
You know what I'm
cool.
saying? Like we got some guys out
We
here
got
who
some guys.
can. We got some guys on offense. We got Brian Dable coming over. He's gonna try to treat this like a Josh Allen light type thing from Buffalo. Cool. I understand it. Just be competitive. All I care, let the rookies come in and be great and be competitive, and I'll be a
Right,
happy Giants fan this year. I don't expect to come in and win 10, 11 games. That's not what the expectation is. We were terrible last year.
right.
Come in, be competitive, keep guys healthy. Let's see what we really have in Daniel Jones. And if we don't have it, let's move on. We should have
Let's
taken
move.
Justin Fields. I'm gonna say that until my neck
That's
falls
fair.
off.
That's fair.
But
That's
but but
fair.
let's just be competitive. I want every game to be like, okay, this team, I see the core now. I see the
Yes,
vision.
yes.
I see the vision. In 2, 3 years, this team is going to be competing for playoff spots, and they're going to be in the
Okay,
play. We're going to be here. That's what my expectation for this season is. Now, if they exceed that, it's wonderful. If
okay.
Daniel Jones proves to have that talent that he shows flashes of, which he does, then cool. But if he can do that for most of his plays and not 3 or 4 of his plays,
Right.
then we're looking at something.
You know what?
Right
That's
now,
very
Philly's the
fair.
class.
Yeah.
Like on paper, if we look at everything, Philly looks like the class of this division on paper right now. Philly looks wonderful,
Yes, I
but
think
but that's all
Philadelphia is done.
appearances. You still
You
got to
know,
play. You
by
still got to play
right
football.
on paper and listen. How many years has on paper Dallas had the best team in the division? Right.
Right?
Um, you
They
got to
they beat up
play.
on the division, but
You
it's
got to
just
play.
something that doesn't get them over that hump.
That's
Now,
right. That's right.
Mike McCarthy, this is his last year. We know
Oh,
this.
listen. What did I
Maybe
say
he
before?
doesn't know, but all this is for Sean Payton, like you said. You said,
Listen, I said that before the draft.
you sure did.
Everybody Dallas is drafting is for
Hey
Sean
Sean,
Payton.
hey Sean, you like this,
Okay.
right? Yeah, man, I
And
like
I
that.
will say this that once Sean Payton comes back to the NFL and odds on he'll go to Dallas, that changes everything
It changes a lot, man. It does.
because Sean Payton with less talent has put up crazy numbers. Now he also had Drew Brees,
He did.
so which helped greatly. But even when Drew was hurt or didn't play, his play calling is outstanding. You know, Sean Payton is an excellent play caller. He will inherit talent in Dallas that can be top 10 talent in the league. And he'll make that work. McCarthy, I'll go one step further. McCarthy cannot start off bad.
Ooh, McCarthy might be. Listen, Dallas starts off like 2-3 or
If they start
something.
off 2-3 or 2-4,
Yeah, man.
right? McCarthy doesn't finish the season. I believe that. So, but we'll get into pro football when we get done with these NBA finals. Training camp will be starting soon. You'll start seeing who's making the roster, which of these rookies is lighting it up. We'll start seeing how guys are adjusting, especially your draft classes, and how they're adjusted to NFL life. And it's going to be interesting to see how some of these teams shake out.
It's gonna be
College
fascinating.
football, everyone, college football is coming soon. Please
Roll damn
understand,
tide.
you're going to get on me.
It's gonna get.
Ace and
Listen,
I are going
it's
to get on
going.
your
It
nerves
it's gonna get
every week.
ugly.
If
It's
you're
gonna
not
get
an
ugly during
Alabama
college
fan,
team.
it's going to be bad because
It's gonna get ugly.
we're very biased. Um,
It's gonna get ugly during college.
it's I don't care if when Alabama was losing to Louisiana Monroe, I'm still roll tide. We're not losing to Louisiana Monroe
Oh
anymore.
my gosh,
Those
no.
days are over.
Oh
So,
no.
but we're gonna make it good for you. We want you to keep. We love your support. Tell everyone. Let's get out here and make it. Let's bring the family together. All of you are family. I know this is my
Absolutely.
son, but all of us are family. Let's talk sports. Let's get your questions. Leave your questions there. Send them to us. We will be happy to answer
We
each
here.
question. We're not professionals, no, but we'll give you a fan's opinion, and maybe that'll open up some more dialogue. We really relish that, and hope that
Absolutely.
and hope that you guys Continue to like and support the show. This is a new venture. Even when sports isn't first and foremost, we're gonna get into some cooking. We're gonna get into a little. We're not gonna talk politics too much because I'm just
Sure
so
not.
angry right now.
Sure not, man.
But we're gonna talk cooking. We're gonna talk a lot of sports. We're gonna talk. The things that my son and I enjoy doing. We'll talk about music. We're gonna do hip hop top 10, R
We
and
got it
B
coming.
top 10.
We have some
You
things
know,
coming.
we got some things coming for you. So right, and we will incorporate that around some sports if we have to. The number one song in the '60s. Who was the best team in the '60s? It wasn't Dallas, but
We have some
we
things coming for y'all, man.
yeah, we got
We
some big things
absolutely
coming.
do. We absolutely do. We're definitely planning on some nice things. We're getting our feet under us here, but things are starting to come along a little bit better. We appreciate the views. We appreciate you guys always checking in with us. We're back at it one more time next week. Listen, you could be a champion next week at this
I
time,
could
man.
I could be an NBA champion,
You
and
could
I
be a
promise
champ by
you,
this time next week.
I'm not Irish.
You gonna talk so messy next week if
I'm
y'all
I'm
got
not
the.
Irish, but the name McPherson, I'm
Here we
gonna
go, man.
I'm gonna be looking
Here
like
we
a
go, man.
black leprechaun. I'm gonna have some. I'm gonna have some. I'm gonna have some Lucky Charm cereal
No,
with a
you.
Mountain Dew. Everything's gonna be green. My soda's gonna be green. My cereal box, everything's gonna be green.
Hey, they gonna
My
be
ass gonna be
green.
like, I'm gonna look like, I'm gonna look like a shamrock. The shamrock shake. I'm gonna go to McDonald's and get a
You gonna
shamrock
get a
shake.
shamrock shake?
I'm
Get off
gonna
my
go
screen, man.
Dairy Queen.
We,
I'm gonna get a green blizzard. I'm gonna get
yo,
mint
man,
chocolate chip.
get off my screen, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for always checking
See
in.
you guys,
Love y'all,
man.
man. Appreciate you.